before I get into this video, if you need help with losing weight or living a disciplined life or anything related to that, click the link in the description and message me on Instagram, and I will help you achieve your goals. Now, there's a certain point in my life where I didn't think that I would achieve any change. And that was last year when I used to weigh 205 pounds, and I was, yeah, at my lowest point. I was unhappy where I was physically, financially. I had a really horrible job. Um, just wasn't happy. I wasn't depressed, but I was very stressed and unhappy. And a way I dealt with that was coping with my coping mechanism was eating, and more specifically, junk food. I found comfort in eating foods that were super unhealthy for me. And because of that, it got me to be where I was, 205 pounds. Now, the whole point I want to make with this video is I was living this pathetic life, eating junk food and being unhappy, going to this crappy 9 to 5 job I had. And what I want to be relatable for those that are watching and who can relate to this video is that the me back then thought that there would be no change, that everything would be the same, that I would grow old being overweight or continue to be overweight and just die like that. But if you're someone in that state, you have to understand that that will only happen if you let it. I let myself be 205 pounds, so that's what happened. I let myself be in that state. I let myself be in that state of complacency, so I was in that crappy job. I even if I was stressed or whatever, uh, coping is not an excuse. I had no reason to eat, even if I was unhappy. Oh well. So this video, I want to talk about how I went from being 205 pounds to actually using self-improvement and discipline to turn things around, and how we went from that weight to 180 pounds. So yeah, like I just said, I got to 205 pounds. Now, to keep in mind, I had many attempts at weight loss throughout my life, as I did struggle with weight. I have a slow metabolism, so for me, losing body fat was a little bit harder than compared to others. I have friends that can eat like pigs and they can still look anorexic. So for me, it was the opposite. With these attempts, my main attempt more so was keto. I had other attempts of focusing solely on cardio. Uh, I would do other things. I would what I thought were healthy foods, but really aren't that healthy, especially if you're doing keto. Um, I would eat that, like Subway sandwiches or yogurt with cereal on it. Just stuff that has no nutritional value. I would do that, and then I would even do keto. But because of the way I approached the keto diet, I kept failing. I went from an approach of trial and error. I just knew the gist of it, that you need low carbs and high protein and high fat, and I'll figure it out from there. I didn't educate myself on what exactly I should be eating, when, how, and whatnot. So it wasn't until I discovered some YouTube channels that specialize in the keto diet where I started properly educating myself and learning the things I should have been doing, like educating myself, doing things properly. And then that helped me plan things out so much better and helped me see where I'm going wrong and how to improve in it. And yeah, that's just like the logical aspect of it. But when it came down to self-improvement and discipline, it wasn't easy. Like my whole example and point is that I was whatever pain you're having, there's a way to get through it. So my pain was being miserable and overweight. So when I say I use self-improvement, it's because I was addicted to eating junk food. I was addicted to using that as a coping mechanism. I was addicted to the taste of the junk food. I was addicted to having all these unhealthy eating habits, eating whenever I wanted, right before bed, right in the morning. So from doing that to doing something like having 2 meals a day or 1 meal a day, it's challenging. And also eating meals that are hard to get accustomed to. Not that eating something like a steak and vegetables isn't tasty, but again, if you're someone such as myself that was coming from just binge eating on junk food, going from something that's chemically engineered to keep you hooked on to eating something that's more natural, you're still going to prefer the junk food. Even right now, I still want to eat junk food, but it's a matter of being disciplined enough to fight that temptation and fight that bad habit. So yeah, stuff like I just said, changing up my diet, going through prolonged periods of fasting, all this stuff, and how it relates to self-improvement is going from the bad habits that took me to be 205 pounds and changing that into good habits to help me achieve my goal. And that can be said for any goal that you want to do with using self-improvement. You want to build muscle at the gym, so you have to be disciplined to go to the gym. You have to be disciplined to put yourself through pain of working out. And you got to be consistent. You will see your goals. You want to build a business, same thing. You have to be disciplined to put in a lot of work into whatever business you want to make, and not flip-flop from idea to idea. So all these changes you want to make in your life, from going from feeling like crap to being the better version of yourself, requires things like discipline, willpower, and yeah, motivation helps, but it's important to not solely rely on something like motivation, but it requires all that stuff too. So yeah, so if I can go from someone who's 205 pounds, binge eating on junk food, being so unhappy, to going all the way down to 180 pounds, which is 25 pounds lost, it's something that can be achieved. And that's what I want you to know, if you're someone who is in that same spot, that whatever pain you're going through can be achieved through self-improvement. Whether you want my help on Instagram, send me a DM, or you want to do this on your own accord, do your own research and whatnot. But I'm just letting you know that yeah, you can achieve it. You can achieve that weight loss. You can achieve that business that you want to make. You can achieve whatever skill you want to learn. Skill you want to learn. It's all achievable. But yeah, that's my point in this video, that it doesn't start until you start making those decisions. You think of it like this. When you do something, when I was 205 pounds, it was because I had bad habits, right? I had bad habits of eating junk food, eating too much, eating whenever and whatever I wanted to. Those are bad habits. Bad habits are easy to do because they bring you comfort. It's comfortable for me to eat the junk food. It's comfortable for me to sleep in till 1 p.m. It's comfortable for me to not read the books that I should be reading. It brings you comfort. And whatever reason why, because we're engineered that way, who knows, but we tend to take the easy route. Now, the good habits require discipline, and that's because they put you through pain. A good habit like working out, even if you're someone who loves going to the gym and working out, it's still a form of putting yourself through pain. whether it's mental or physical, like working, lifting the weights, or just mentally fighting the urge to not go, and instead of choosing to stay, overcoming that urge. Good habits such as eating foods that are healthy. Some people might not like healthier foods, such as myself as before. It's not like I hated the food, but again, like, because I was addicted to the junk food, it was hard for me to get accustomed to the healthier foods. So now I still prefer healthy foods now. Like, I like the taste of food, healthy foods. Now and then I do get cravings for junk foods, but it's not as bad. But yeah, that's my point I'm trying to make. The good habits require yourself to go through pain. Whatever example you want to use, any good habit requires pain and discipline. You have to voluntarily choose to put yourself through that pain. So when I was losing the weight, when I fasted for because with the keto diet, I was doing keto and intermittent fasting and whatnot. If you don't know what that is, check out my other videos. But it came to the point where I did prolonged fasting, where I fasted for more than a day, 2 days or whatever. The longest I fasted for was 3 days, and during those 3 days, it was not easy, but because of the nature of the keto diet, it made it more manageable, rather than doing it on a other diet. But that's besides the point. But during that time, it was hard. It was really, really hard. I was starving. A lot of the times I felt low energy, but that's because I wasn't hydrating myself and whatnot. But still, it was hard. It's hard to get through a state of starvation and just ignoring that feeling in your stomach, and that's pain. And what that brought me was a great speed in my weight loss, like a rapid result. I saw results really fast doing that fasting. So that's what good habits are. You put yourself through the pain and discomfort, and then you'll see your results. Like, for example, a book. Force yourself to read a chapter, and then you will start building the discipline and willpower to keep doing that. And that's the other thing I'm trying to say. It's you're putting yourself through discomfort like that will build your discipline and willpower to continue these good habits. Obviously, you'll now and then fall off. So many times I've fallen off. Like, even after I lost the weight when I was 180 pounds, there were times where I gained my weight back. I actually got back to 190 recently, because I was indulging in the same bad habits that got me there. But it's a matter of, getting back into that state of self-discipline and self-improving, and not letting yourself be the old version of yourself. Another way to think about it is this: if you want change, you got to metaphorically kill off the old version of yourself. Who I am right now is definitely not the same person who was a year ago and 205 pounds, working that crappy job, unhappy. Definitely the same. Sorry, not the same. Definitely not the same person. Different mindset, different attitude. So if you want change, you gotta change your ways. I can't tell someone to lose weight with keto, but then they're still doing things like sleeping until 1 p.m. or playing video games all day. Yeah, sure, it's one thing to change your diet, but again, if you're an undisciplined, lazy person, it's all in vain. So me losing that weight helped me change my lifestyle as a whole, whether it's diet or habit or mindset and attitude. And yes, I will admit I do fall off sometimes, eating foods that I shouldn't be eating, doing things I shouldn't be doing, wasting time. No one's perfect, but it's a matter of attempting that consistency. So it brings me to the point I was making in the beginning of the video. If you're someone who thinks that it's impossible to change, that's not true. because I went from 205 pounds to 180. And I was that person who thought that that was never going to change or happen. But yeah, it can and it will if you decide to make the change, if you decide to voluntarily put yourself through some sort of discomfort. And when I say discomfort, I don't mean like hurting yourself physically. Doing something that you don't want to do, reading that book that you don't want to read, going to the gym when you don't want to, forcing yourself to wake up really early and staying awake, things like that. If you choose a life of comfort, you're not gonna see any result. You're gonna just keep going down. And yeah, that's what I did. I chose a life of comfort, whether it was willingly or because I was stressed out and whatnot, but that's besides the point. I chose a life of comfort, and what that brought me was being overweight. Now it might bring other things to other people, drug abuse, alcohol use, whatever, any addiction. It's not good. So yeah, if you made it this far into the video, I thank you so much for watching. Again, click the link in the description, subscribe right now, and thank you for watching.